Welcome to the Museum Roadshow. Today we're going to be taking a tour of the First National Bank building. You got to remember now it's been all gutted out, but Phyllis and Marge are going to give us a good tour of all 3 floors of this building.
This is where the front door has always been. It was a longer hallway here, which I assume made the 2 offices, one on each side, bigger enough so they could be offices. And then from there on, we went here, and there was a desk here, and then the teller line started, and they went 2 this way, 2 this way, and 2 back this way to the vaults, where the vaults were the safety deposit vault, the cash vault, and the book vault. And then there was a vault behind that that was for the bookkeeping area.
And then in the 50s, the bank was from these posts to the south. And then the office was taken out in the front of the building, the one to the west, and this was made into the office here. That's where F.J. Rogstedt had his office, and our night drop was in the same place that it is right now where they made their night deposits. That was here. And then they had a railing that was a semicircle railing they put here. And the officers had, Kent Rogstedt was here. Later in the years, Dave Rogstedt was here. Millie Weston was here. There was Bob Berquist and Arnold Porkinen. They were all sitting facing to the north. They had their desk right in the open. And that was something that was new. They didn't have offices. They were sitting right out in the open. It took a while for people to get used to that. And then they took out the wall here. And then we made a drive-in, and the back wall was where we had storage for all the deposit tickets and so forth. And then the teller line came about right in this area here. And then the drive-in window was put here. And there was 2 lanes. It went underneath the drive and the outside. And over in this area, that was done in about the 80s where they made the basement, where they remodeled down the basement, and that was added later. And then the vault, as I remember the vault, they had changed that a little bit too. The main vault was about right in this area here. You'd walk in and there'd be safe deposit boxes here. And then you'd go to the right, and there was another door, and that's where the cash, there's another vault in there, and that's where the cash was kept. And about right in this area where that window is, there was a conference room with a door that would go back, and that's where the officers and the directors had their meeting before the one was down in the basement. And then back in the, I think it was the 80s when we remodeled, we put in what was called a dumb waiter because we moved the bookkeeping department upstairs. So we didn't have to walk the steps every time we wanted to. We pushed a button. We put stuff in the dumb waiter and it went upstairs and down. That's how we got our things up and down the steps. And then we had, Marge was saying earlier that the checks used to be in the vault here, used to be filed. But then we added the vault in the back, and that's where we had all of our checks stored and where they'd be filed. We take the drawers out and file the checks and put them back. And then that opened up when we expanded upstairs. We added a door so we could go upstairs at that time. Now we're upstairs, and this is the original railing that they had years ago. You can see how pretty it is still. And on top you can see that this is the original windows with the white in them. And they had beautiful doors that was frosted, and they had names on those doors. But they are gone now. And here's where, this is where the CPA offices were at one time. And then this is when I was talking, our bookkeeping department was moved up here. And here's where the dumb waiter came up into the bookkeeping office right here that we were talking about on the lower level. And you can see the woodwork that is still here, but the doors are gone and the glass is gone, but you can see some of the original woodwork. And the radiators, this is what they use for heat.
I think this is the office that John Pearson was in when he was up here in a tax work.
And several of these rooms have since been remodeled since it was a bank. And I think, Marge, you had an office right in this area, didn't you?
Yeah, I've been in both of these.
Marge had an office here.
I was back here first and then over here. And this, I think, was storage in here was all.
And then the bookkeeping, now this opens up, and this is where the bookkeeping, and the last time it was here, was moved here. They had expanded again. As we're going through here, they keep expanding. And this is the original tile. You can see this was a hall here. And the Rogstedt dental offices, we believe,
was
beyond this, and the other to the west, straight ahead. And at one time, we had our own. Had our own computer, and you can imagine now the size that they have for the banks are probably like this and like this. They're very small. This whole room housed the computer to do the work for the bank. We did our general ledgers, and we did all of our check posting and everything that came. The information came through on this computer. It was huge, and at that time, it was Cullen Peterson and David Rogstedt are two of the people that I know that work with the computer. And Marge also did work in there. And these are the original, I think, doors for the restrooms here. The old restroom.
Gents.
No, see, now this has been painted over because here's the white underneath. This was the original bathrooms that they had, but they weren't used when we were here. And I think something here that is really neat to show you is the light switches. They were push-button light switches. And you can see the ivory look of them, and they were just push-button on and off. And this is the area where we feel that the dentist offices were up in here and the other side of this wall. When you're in Godfather's, you can look right across and look into these windows. If you wanted air circulation in the building, this is what this was used for here. You see the window opens up, and you could push the button and push the rod, and that would open and close the windows in the top.